Hello, citizens of Geekville. This is Seth, aka Zandrax, the mayor of Geekville and your host of Geekville Radio. And today we are diving deep into episode 7 of Maul Shadow Lord, titled Call to Oblivion. If you are a Star Wars fan, a Maul fan, or just someone who enjoys watching a former Sith Lord play six-dimensional chess against an entire galactic empire while everyone around him slowly realizes they are not the protagonist of their own story, then you are in the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your predictions, and let's get into it. As always, I'll start with my spoiler-free thoughts, then we'll go full spoiler mode and wrap up with predictions. So if you haven't seen episode 7 yet, I'll give you a clear warning before we cross that line. All right, spoiler-free section, go. I don't know how they keep doing it, but this show keeps getting better with every single episode. Episode 7 is the best one yet, and I say that knowing full well I probably said the same thing about episode 6. This show has the audacity to top itself on a weekly basis. If this is a preview of what Star Wars looks like under Dave Filoni's creative leadership, then I think we may actually be witnessing the beginning of a genuine renaissance for this franchise. I know that's a big statement. I stand by it. Maul's plan is still in motion. Despite the Empire showing up and making everything significantly more complicated, our favorite former Sith Lord is adapting, because that's what Maul does. He doesn't react, he recalibrates. Rook is still loyal to Maul, but her Mandalorian mercenary crew? Less so. Money talks in a galaxy far, far away. Actually, money talks everywhere. I once tried to tip with goodwill. They took my shoes. Devon is showing more and more signs of anger, and as a Star Wars fan, you know exactly what that means. Anger leads to the dark side leads to suffering. Suffering leads to a really compelling character arc and a lot of great fan theories. Riley is in way over his head, and he knows it. There's something refreshing about a character who isn't delusional about his situation. He's not brave, he's just present, by accident mostly. Captain Lawson dropped a pretty significant revelation this episode. He explained why he trusts Jedi, and by extension, why he trusts Daki. It's a moment of real character depth in a show that keeps finding new ways to add layers. And then there's Two Boots, our beloved coffee-loving police droid. Now, as of this episode, he may as well be called No Boots. The droid, the caffeinated icon, has lost his boots. I don't want to say more than that yet. Just know that the boot situation is dire, and the coffee situation is somehow also in jeopardy. And I am personally offended on his behalf. And of course, Lieutenant Blake. Good old Blake. Middle management Blake. The man who walks into every room like he owns the building, the planet, and the surrounding star systems. Despite having roughly the authority of a regional assistant manager at a moisture farm supply depot. This episode, Blake once again throws his weight around with the energy of Jabba the Hutt in a dance-off. Enthusiastic, undeniable, slightly painful to watch. Okay, that's the spoiler-free section. Now we go full spoiler. If you haven't seen episode 7, this is your last exit. Go watch it. Come back. I'll be here. All right, spoilers, let's go. We open, as has become tradition, with an establishing shot of a Star Destroyer looming over Janix. And at this point, seeing that Star Destroyer over the city is starting to feel like seeing your boss's car in the parking lot when you called in sick. You know nothing good is about to happen. The Empire is not just present. They are locking down the entire city, possibly the entire planet. Every shot in the opening sequence communicates the same thing. This situation is now significantly worse than it was last week. Maul, Devon, and Riley are continuing on foot. Riley, bless his heart, questions why they're still traveling together with Maul. And Maul, in that calm, quietly terrifying way he has, reminds them that they are all being hunted by the same people, which means staying together is the logical choice. Maul is a master manipulator, but the most effective manipulation is when you're also just right. He's not wrong. Riley knows it. Devon probably knows it. Nobody's happy about it. Meanwhile, Captain Lawson and Master Daki are making their way through the streets of Janix, trying to locate the others. Daki assures Lawson that the force bond he shares with Devon will help guide them, which is the Jedi version of saying, my GPS will figure it out. And historically, that has a mixed track record in this franchise. Cut to Marek, sitting atop a Janix skyscraper like a gargoyle. Specifically, like a gargoyle who received a transmission from a stormtrooper requesting his presence for an incoming transport. Most gargoyles don't get those. Marek is ahead of the curve. Back to the team. Maul, Devon, and Riley return to what I have been affectionately calling the Maul Cave. They're greeted by Spybot and Vario, who taunt Devon and Riley. Maul tells Rook Kast they need to leave immediately, and Devon and Riley, finally putting the pieces together, realize something. They're not guests. They're prisoners, and they try to escape. Maul, who has been extraordinarily patient up to this point, by his standards, starts losing it, not explosively, quietly, which is worse. He warns Devon that they cannot survive alone. He has a plan that only works if they come with him. And Devon and Riley look at each other with the energy of two people who have been told, "Trust me," by someone they've literally seen slaughter people, and decide, nope, still running. So Maul does what any reasonable former Sith Lord would do. He uses the Force to freeze Devon in place and push Riley away. Then, and this is the part that's both incredible and terrifying, he forces Devon to ignite her lightsaber. He is literally using the Force to make her draw her weapon. He is engineering a duel. The lit sabers catch the eye of an Imperial probe droid. Nothing says, "Please alert the Empire to our location," like two glowing plasma blades in a secret underground base. But before the fight actually gets going, an Imperial gunship lands. Stormtroopers pour out, and Maul does not immediately react. He stays fixed on Devon even though there's a squad of stormtroopers firing at him. And for a moment, he looks almost bored, like he's waiting for them to finish, like they're a minor inconvenience. And then he turns. And the stormtroopers have a very bad afternoon. Riley sees the chaos and beckons Devon to run. But Devon, already charged up from her near duel with Maul, doesn't run. She fights alongside Maul. He needed her angry. He needed her committed. And she just handed him exactly that. While they're busy fighting the Empire, more stormtroopers land and capture Riley. Maul knew that would happen too, I'd wager. 6-dimensional chess. The man doesn't play checkers. He doesn't even play regular chess. He's out here playing a game that hasn't been invented yet. Devon, to her credit, tries to repeat her trick from Episode 5 and take over an Imperial gunship. It doesn't work this time, but it does get her out of the immediate fight, which means she at least escapes Maul's orbit, for now. Elsewhere, an Inquisitor ship lands, and stepping out is the 11th brother. I've been calling him Bird Guy in my notes because, well, look at him, and the name Birdman is already copyrighted. Lawson and Docky are down in the subway tunnels, searching for Devon and Riley. And this is where Lawson finally opens up. He tells Docky that years ago he worked alongside a Jedi. And that experience is why he never believed the propaganda. Why he never accepted that the Jedi were traitors. It's a quiet, humanizing scene in an episode that could have been pure action. And it lands beautifully. Devon finds them and delivers the bad news. Riley was captured. The three agree they're going to go get him back, which is either heroic or reckless, and in Star Wars, those two things are basically the same.
Never tell me the odds.
Back at the Maul cave, Maul and his Mandalorian crew have finished dealing with every stormtrooper in the vicinity. Look, I don't want to dwell on the body count, but they probably leveled up. Maul, ever practical, immediately pivots. The Inquisitor is coming. Time to move. Rook orders the mercenary Mandalorians to leave their credits behind, which, as a piece of foreshadowing, is about as subtle as a Star Destroyer. We'll come back to this. Meanwhile, the stormtroopers bring Riley to the station, and here's where we get our Two Boots update. And it is not good, people. It has been confirmed. Two Boots no longer has boots. The boots are gone. He's just bootsless. He still has his coffee, though, which at this point is the only thing holding his entire identity together. His coffee mug is doing more emotional support work than any therapist in the Outer Rim. And then, because the galaxy decided things weren't bad enough, Lieutenant Blake shows up, Middle Management Blake. The man walks in and immediately commandeers Two Boots' coffee mug. First he took his boots, now Blake takes his coffee. I want you to understand something. This man has committed an act of war. Taking that droid's coffee mug is not a minor infraction. That is a personal assault on the only comfort this poor droid has left in his life. Blake then orders Riley thrown in holding. Two Boots objects at this. It violates protocol. Blake responds by threatening Two Boots with a memory wipe. And Two Boots, cornered and outranked, backs off. But here's the key moment. When Two Boots watches them take Riley to detention, he hesitates. A flicker of something that, for a droid governed by logic, is actually remarkable. He doesn't just execute his programming, he pauses. He considers. That hesitation, that's the beginning of something. Remember it. Spybot leads Maul, Rook, and the mercenaries through the underground tunnels toward their transport. And the Mandalorian mercs are done being polite about it. They're tired of following orders. They're tired of not getting paid. They want out. Rook holds firm. She's loyal to Maul. And importantly, Maul still holds the Darksaber. For a Mandalorian, that's not a small detail. But she acknowledges the mercenaries' rising cost. Maul waves it off as temporary. He is correct. More on that in a moment. Lawson tries to reach Two Boots through his communicator. Two Boots doesn't answer. Now, is that protocol or is that protection? Is Two Boots refusing to answer because he doesn't want Lawson to be traced and caught? I genuinely think it's the latter. And if I'm right, Two Boots just made his first active choice to protect someone. Bootless, mugless, and quietly rebellious. I love this droid. Maul's crew reaches the transport point, only to find the Empire got there first. Another gunship lands, carrying Merrick and Bird Guy, the 11th brother, and the chase is on through the underground tunnels of Janix. Now, I want to point out something here. This chase reflects the way Maul drew Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn through the Theed generator on Naboo in The Phantom Menace. Maul lures them. He leads them. He controls the geography. He wants them to follow. And the Inquisitors, trained hunters, fall for it because they're confident. Confidence is the thing that gets you killed in a Maul episode. File that away. And then the mercenaries make their move. They've decided, screw this. They're done. They grab the Mandalorian ship and bolt, leaving Rook, Vario, and Maul behind. Vario tries to get on the ship with them. He is left behind, which, it turns out, is a good thing for him, because then the ship is destroyed. Imperial gunships obliterate it the moment it clears the tunnels. A fitting end for betrayal, if we're being poetic about it, which we are. The Inquisitors seemingly have Maul down for the kill, but Maul's heavy repeating blaster-toting Zabrak comrade runs in. He's quickly killed by the Inquisitors, but it's enough to buy Maul some time. So now Maul has no ship. His mercenaries are space debris. The Empire is closing in. 2 Inquisitors are on him. And what does Maul do? He fights. He battles Merrick and Bird Guy simultaneously, and, because his leg was already damaged from his encounter with Daki a few episodes back, he takes a lightsaber clip to that same leg. He goes down to his knees. The Inquisitors close in. They gloat. They tell him there is no surrender. The Emperor wants him dead. D-E-D dead. And Maul, from his knees, looks up at them and says, simply, calmly, magnificently,
likewise.
And then he brings the ceiling down on all of them. With the Force. He just brings it all down. The rocky cave ceiling collapses on Maul, Merrick, and Bird Guy, and the screen goes dark. Look, I don't have words for how good that moment is. Actually, I have one word.
Likewise.
Because that was all you needed. Okay, predictions. This is my favorite part. Prediction 1. Darth Vader is coming. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. The Empire showed up first, then 1 Inquisitor, then 2 Inquisitors. The threat Maul represents keeps escalating. At some point, the only logical next step is Vader himself. And that dream match, Maul versus Vader, has been a fan fantasy for decades. Sooner or later, the show is going to have to deliver on it. And when it does, I plan to be very loud about it on this channel. Prediction 2. Neither Inquisitor is dead. We know Bird Guy, the 11th brother, appears in Tales of the Jedi set later in the timeline, so he survives this. And Merrick, he's too interesting to kill off in a cave collapse. Prediction 3. Two Boots is done with the police force. He has lost his boots. He has lost his coffee mug. Blake threatened him with a memory wipe, and he has now witnessed, firsthand, a fellow being thrown into detention in violation of proper protocol. For a droid built around logic and procedure, watching protocol be violated is the equivalent of a human being pushed past their breaking point. Two Boots doesn't need passion to rebel. He just needs a sufficient logical reason. Blake just handed him one, on a silver platter, without even a cup of coffee. Prediction 4. Devon is the one who eventually kills Daki. I keep coming back to this. Whether it happens in rage or through some manipulation by Maul, Devon's arc is bending toward darkness, and Daki is the figure of authority closest to her. That's a recipe for tragedy in this universe. Prediction 5. Lawson mentioned that Rena has gone dark since they've been hunted. Could the Empire have gotten to her? Could she be compromised? Or, and I find this more interesting, could she be out there quietly assembling resources, waiting for the right moment to bring in reinforcements? I think Rena shows back up in the 3rd act with something significant. What exactly? I'm not sure. But she doesn't feel like a throwaway plot thread. Prediction 6, and this is the one I find most intriguing. Rook. Maul just lost most of his crew. The mercenaries are gone. Rook is one of the last loyal soldiers standing. And the question I keep asking is, does Rook survive this show? Because there's a popular theory that Rook Kast eventually becomes the Armorer, the mysterious Mandalorian figure we know from later in the timeline. If that's true, she has to make it out. But if the show goes another direction, her end here could be devastating. And what about her potential connection to Jodo Kast from the old Legends continuity? The Boba Fett impersonator from the old expanded universe? That would be a deep cut. And this show loves deep cuts. All right, citizens of Geekville, that is the full breakdown of Maul, Shadow Lord Episode 7, Call to Oblivion. Drop your predictions in the comments. Tell me where you think I'm wrong. Tell me where you think I'm right. Tell me your theories about Two Boots. Because honestly, he deserves his own fan community at this point. The man lost his boots and his coffee. That's a villain origin story. I'm Seth, aka Zandrax, mayor of Geekville and host of Geekville Radio. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next episode. I'm shutting down the power until next time.